Stephen King, one of the most prolific and influential authors of the 20th and 21st centuries, is renowned for his mastery in the horror, supernatural fiction, suspense, and fantasy genres. His works have captivated millions of readers around the world and have inspired countless films, television series, and adaptations. King's journey from a struggling writer to a literary icon is a story filled with perseverance, creativity, and imagination. Early life and education. Stephen Edwin King was born on September 21, 1947, in Portland, Maine, United States. His parents were Donald Edwin King, a merchant seaman, and Nellie Ruth Pillsbury King. When Stephen was just 2 years old, his father abandoned the family, leaving Ruth to raise Stephen and his older brother, David, alone. The family moved frequently across the northeastern United States, living in places like Wisconsin, Massachusetts, and Connecticut before eventually settling in Durham, Maine. From an early age, King developed a fascination with storytelling and the macabre. He was an avid reader of comic books and horror tales, particularly those found in EC Comics such as Tales from the Crypt. He also discovered the works of authors like H.P. Lovecraft, Edgar Allan Poe, and Richard Matheson, who greatly influenced his writing style and themes. King attended Durham Elementary School and later Lisbon Falls High School. He began writing stories as a teenager and would sell them to his friends for small amounts of money. During his high school years, he showed a strong interest in writing for newspapers and school publications. After graduating in 1966, King attended the University of Maine at Orono, where he earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in English in 1970. While in college, he wrote a column for the school newspaper called King's Garbage Truck and became active in student politics, often expressing liberal viewpoints. Struggles and early career. After completing his degree, King struggled to find steady employment. He took various low-paying jobs, including working as a janitor and in an industrial laundry. In 1971, he began teaching English at Hampton Academy in Maine, while continuing to write short stories for men's magazines such as Cavalier. Despite his hard work, financial difficulties persisted for King and his wife, Tabitha Spruce, whom he had met in college and married in 1971. During this period, King was developing his first major novel, Carrie. Initially, he wrote the story as a short piece but became frustrated and threw it away. Tabitha retrieved the pages from the trash, encouraged him to continue, and helped him refine the female perspective of the protagonist. King completed the novel, and it was published in 1974 by Doubleday. Carrie became a massive success, allowing King to quit teaching and become a full-time writer. The book's adaptation into a film in 1976, directed by Brian De Palma, cemented King's reputation as a rising literary force. Rise to fame and major works. After Carrie, King's career skyrocketed. He published a series of bestsellers that defined modern horror fiction. Salem's Lot, 1975, a vampire tale set in a small Maine town, and The Shining, 1977, about a haunted hotel and a man's descent into madness, established him as a master of psychological and supernatural terror. The Shining was later adapted into a classic film directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Jack Nicholson, though King himself was not fond of the adaptation. Throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, King continued to release one successful novel after another, including The Stand, 1978, Firestarter, 1980, Cujo, 1981, Pet Sematary, 1983, Christine, 1983, and It, 1986. His works often combined elements of horror with deep explorations of human fear, morality, and the darkness within ordinary life. King also wrote under the pseudonym Richard Bachman to publish additional works without oversaturating the market. Under this name, he released novels such as Rage, The Long Walk, and Thinner. His secret identity was eventually exposed by a bookstore clerk in 1985, which only increased his fame. Personal life and challenges. Despite his success, King's life was not without hardship. In the late 1970s and 1980s, he struggled with alcoholism and substance abuse. He later admitted that he was often intoxicated while writing some of his most famous novels. With the help of his family, he eventually overcame his addiction in the late 1980s and has remained sober since. In 1999, King faced another life-threatening event when he was struck by a van while walking near his home in Maine. He suffered severe injuries, including broken bones and a collapsed lung. The accident left him in chronic pain and temporarily interrupted his writing career. However, King's determination saw him return to writing within months of the incident, continuing to produce new works and revisiting long-term projects such as the Dark Tower series, a monumental fantasy saga that he began in 1982 and completed in 2004. Later career and legacy. King's later works include critically acclaimed novels like Lisa E. Story, 2006, November 22, 63, 2011, Dr. Sleep, 2013, The Outsider, 2018, and Fairy Tale, 2022. His writing has expanded beyond horror to include historical fiction, crime thrillers, and fantasy. Many of his stories have been adapted into films and television series, such as The Shawshank Redemption, Stand By Me, Misery, The Green Mile, and several of which are considered cinematic masterpieces. Stephen King has received numerous awards for his contributions to literature, including the National Book Foundation Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters in 2003. His works have sold more than 350 million copies worldwide, and his influence extends to generations of writers who cite him as an inspiration. King continues to write from his home in Bangor, Maine, often collaborating with his sons, Joe Hill and Owen King, both of whom are also accomplished authors. Despite his fame, he remains known for his down-to-earth personality, humor, and devotion to his readers. Conclusion. Stephen King's life story is one of perseverance, imagination, and an enduring passion for storytelling. From humble beginnings in Maine to becoming one of the world's best-known authors, King has transformed the literary landscape of horror and beyond. His ability to tap into universal fears while crafting deeply human stories has earned him a place among the greatest writers of modern times. His legacy continues to inspire readers and writers alike, ensuring that the King of Horror will remain a towering figure in the world of literature for generations to come.